Well, hello again. Welcome to the Clara CFO Group YouTube channel. My name is Hannah Smolenski, and it has been a while. It has been a little while since we have hung out. So I am back, I'm here, and I wanted to talk to you today about PPP updates. So I've been getting a lot of emails, I've been getting comments. I think there's a little bit more activity and angst kind of happening around the PPP program. And so I have finally decided, I've been waiting in the wings, just waiting for good information to bring you guys. And then now I have a lot of content coming down the pike for you guys around the PPP process and around forgiveness. So today, this video is all about updates on where we are. It's coming out on October 7th, 2020, and I'm going to give you the most information I possibly can about where we are in the forgiveness process. And then I'm also going to be putting out some videos in the future about recommendations on kind of what I think you guys should be considering right now in determining when you apply for forgiveness. We're going to talk about documentation. We're going to talk about a lot of different things about the PPP and really like what the banks are wanting, because right now we're all just trying to get the paperwork in and document everything as best as we can and ultimately get these loans 100% forgiven. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe to this channel, because that's what we're going to be talking about, especially over the next month or two. And then I will still be here for you as the PPP process continues. What I really want to focus on is where we are in the PPP process, what the SBA is saying, what the SBA is doing, and also talk about what Congress is doing and if there's any movement on blanket forgiveness, okay? So where I want to start is I want to start with the SBA. As you might remember, back in August, the SBA said that they were going to start accepting forgiveness applications. However, a lot of the banks weren't, because I think what was happening is really the banks were kind of waiting to see what the SBA, if the SBA was going to require different things. And then there's been this murmuring of the second stimulus package that Congress has been trying to push through, or at least like the Democrats have had their plan and the Republicans have had their plan, but they have not come to an agreement yet. And still, as of October 7th, 2020, there still has not been an agreement. There was a big just holding pattern, and we were all feeling it of just, wait, what do we do? And even the banks were in that same situation. And really the SBA was kind of in the same situation too. So they were technically accepting applications. The SBA was accepting applications. So some banks were taking them and sending them on. Only as of September 24th, 96,000 applications had been accepted by the SBA, which only represents 2% of the total number of loans. Those loans have not been rejected or approved. They have just been sitting with the SBA, okay? So now pressure is mounting for the SBA to start actually making determinations on these loans, especially because we still don't have word on blanket forgiveness or anything changing the rules that we already have. So the SBA is going to start, they have said that they're going to start actually funding some of these loans and going through the process, okay? So if you were an early bird and you got your stuff out, you might be seeing some answers within the next month and a half. Because if you remember, the SBA has 90 days to review these files and make a determination, okay? So if you did it really early on in August, we're coming up on your 90 days before we know it, okay? That's where the SBA is. They have gotten the pressure. They are going to actually start pushing these loans out. Let's also talk about where we are in the stimulus package process.
Since this video was recorded, there have been a series of tweets from the president that have put into question the likelihood of a wholesale comprehensive stimulus package. However, I did want to say that tweets are not policy, but I did want to mention it because it is putting a lot of turmoil across the whole discussions regarding a stimulus package. So it is unlikely at this point that we can really speculate on which way it's going to go, but I would be remiss if I did not mention it to you, because this is all breaking news and it's happening basically as we speak. All right, we'll get back to what we already had recorded.
The Democrats revised their HEROES Act, and that was put out recently, and it did have some provisions around the PPP. So one of the things that it did is it did talk about simplifying the application process for loans under $150,000. But there was an even more simplified version for loans under $50,000. And then kind of a little bit more application and certification process for loans between 50 and 150. Okay, I'm not going to go into all the details on it because it hasn't been passed. Okay, so if it gets passed, we will go into the details and we'll dig into it. But I did want to bring that up, that there was that extra breakout, so that's a possibility between the 50 and the 150. Okay, but we're not saying if you have a loan over $150,000, the HEROES Act is not really going to affect you at all. So what it might affect is you might have the ability to apply for a second round of PPP, because that did have a provision for a second amount of funding. But as far as forgiveness, there's nothing for anybody who has a loan over $150,000. So keep that in mind. One of the things that we're running into now is we are at the beginning of October. We have an election coming up in less than a month. And we also have stuff going on in the Senate and in Congress where people are now getting COVID, or at least have been exposed to it. So there is a little bit of just an administrative delay on maybe there being some delay on there being another second stimulus package to even talk about. So I know there have been lots of conversations happening between Nancy Pelosi and Steven Mnuchin of the Treasury. However, they still have not come to any agreements, and it does not look like the Republicans are going to be just blanket accepting the HEROES Act as the Democrats put it up on the table. So we are still not in a place where we have an agreement on a second stimulus bill, a second stimulus package. And at this point, it's looking less and less likely that it might happen soon. Okay. There have been also talks, and you may have heard that there was push for there to be a standalone PPP bill that just was not tied to a full stimulus package, because people are saying, hey, businesses need this or they're going to fail. And so that I have not heard any additional movement on. There was actually a petition going around that you could sign to get that pushed through, or to tell your lawmakers that you wanted it. However, I haven't heard anything else about that. I've been doing lots of searching. So if you can find something about that, please let me know in the comments below. I will read all the comments. But I did want to let you guys know about that as well. So that's kind of the status of where things are right now. What this means for you is that you're probably going to start to see notifications from your bank about them opening up their portals as the likelihood of a second stimulus bill that changes the PPP process is looking dimmer and dimmer. More banks are going to be saying, okay, let's go ahead and turn on our portals. Let's go ahead and start accepting applications and get this ball rolling. Okay, so you might start to see those emails come through. Make sure you save those and look at them, because they will give you some guidance on what you need to do to prepare for forgiveness. All right, so that's the update. That's what's going on. On Friday, on October 9th, I'm going to be uploading another video that talks about my recommendations from a CFO perspective on what you should be thinking about right now, and maybe some tips on when to apply, okay? Tips on when to apply, tips on things to think about as you're applying, and I wanna make sure that I get that information out to you guys, because that's what I'm here for. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. Please share this with anybody that you know that also has a PPP loan and is just kind of wondering what to do right now. And I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you're subscribed if you aren't already, and I'll see you soon. Bye.